Will you drink to the earth and to the days which have passed upon it? Will you drink to the fullness which was and to friends who have passed on? Will you drink to good company well met?
Слава Отця і Сина і Святого Духа, нині повсякчас і на віки вічні.
Амінь.
Ви знімаєте, ну, все, достатньо наразі.
Щирою любов і щирою любов.
Вирішили, тому що важкий час і невідомо, що з нами може бути завтра, тому краще сьогодні, ніж завтра.
I want to give the present for everyone, but the present for every Ukrainian to finish the war. It's every Ukrainian have just one goal, to stop the war.
Make no mistake, the current spike in gas prices is largely the fault of Vladimir Putin. It has nothing to do with the American Rescue Plan. It's gonna go up. Can't do much right now. Russia's responsible. Make no mistake, inflation is largely the fault of Putin.
Inflation report 7.9%. What does that tell us?
It tells us prices are on the move. This actually, of course, is mostly the period before Russia invaded Ukraine, so we don't even account for that.
Gentleman is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. After a consultation with majority staff, I seek unanimous consent to enter into the record of this committee content from, files from, and copies from the Hunter Biden laptop.
Without objection.
Thank you. Yield back. So where is it? The laptop.
Sir, I'm not here to talk about the laptop. I'm here to talk about the FBI cyber program.
You are the assistant director of FBI Cyber. I want to know where Hunter Biden's laptop is. Where is it?
Sir, I don't know that answer.
That is astonishing to me. Has FBI Cyber assessed whether or not Hunter Biden's laptop could be a point of vulnerability, allowing America's enemies to hurt our country?
Sir, the FBI cyber program is based off of what's codified in Title 18, Title 18, Section 1030, a code which talks about computer intrusions, right, using nefarious intent.
But you've talked about passwords here. I mean, Hunter Biden's password on his laptop was Hunter02. He drops it off at a repair store. I'm holding the receipt from Max Computer Repair, where in December 2019, they turned over this laptop to the FBI. And what now you're telling me right here is that as the assistant director of FBI Cyber, you don't know where this is after it was turned over to you 3 years ago.
Yes, sir, that's an accurate statement.
States intelligence community, domestic terrorism from white supremacists is the most lethal terrorist threat in the homeland. We know now we must confront and defeat political extremism, white supremacy, and domestic terrorism. Don't dare call them protesters. They were a riotous mob, insurrectionists, domestic terrorists. White supremacy, domestic terrorism, that we must confront and we will defeat. Committed to advancing transgender equality in the classroom, on the playing field, at work, in our military, in our housing and healthcare systems, everywhere. There's always more work to do to end the epidemic of violence against transgender women of color and girls of color, to ensure transgender seniors can age with dignity, to parents of transgender children. Affirming your child's identity is one of the most powerful things you can do to keep them safe.
The end of neoliberalism and its core plank, the thing it depends upon to survive, which is corporate control over media and hence your brain. They need to control what you think or you will reject them. But increasingly they're not able to because censorship, thank God, is dying. And we can credit to some great extent Elon Musk for that, the richest man in the world. He recently bought Twitter. Now, polls made it very clear that Americans support this. Why? Not because they want another billionaire to own another media property, but because, and the Harvard-Harris poll found this, a majority of Americans understand that Twitter was a force for censorship, a force for control over the population. And it turns out most people, since they live in this country and they're citizens, would like some say in how they're governed. So they want to give their opinions out loud without being punished for it. Therefore, they are glad that Elon Musk is promising to end the censorship of Twitter. So why are people rejecting this? Well, part of the reason is that while Joe Biden was making a fool of himself, going on about trans seniors, Americans are getting poorer, and they feel it. There's no hiding it. Many Americans can barely afford to live in their own country. Watch.
Year to year, meat, fish, poultry, and eggs jumped almost 14%. Used cars and trucks up 35%. Gas up 48%. Blame a tangle of pressures. Supply chain issues, trucks waiting up to 30 hours to cross from Mexico into Texas, labor shortfalls.
Oh, a food shortage. How many revolutions have been spurred by food shortages? Most of them.
What I can tell you is that it sounds like the objective of the board is to prevent disinformation and misinformation from traveling around the country in a range of communities. I'm not sure who opposes that effort, and I don't know who this individual is, so I have no comment on it specifically.
Her name is Nina Jankowicz. She also just recently made some polarizing comments about the Elon Musk's Twitter purchase. It's just getting some pushback from critics who are saying this person may not be the right choice for a board that is run by the Department of Homeland Security. Can you speak to that at all?
I don't have any information about this individual. I can check on more information about the board.
Nina Jankowicz told NPR that she shudders to think about free speech absolutists taking over social media platforms.
Elon made it clear in public that a large part of the reason he bought the platform was because of our moderation policies and disagreements in how we deal with health. This puts Twitter service and trust and safety, as well as anybody who cares about health on the platform, in a very difficult position.
Twitter service, the role of our policies, and the capabilities we've built around content moderation are fundamental to keeping Twitter safe and growing. I believe that there is a lot of work we have to do to continue making that better.
Now, for years under Donald Trump, big tech, the mob, the media, the Democratic Party, they all worked in conjunction together. Their goal, moderate the speech of their political opponents and silence them whenever possible. And now they're losing grip, and they're hoping for a lifeline from America's brand new disinformation czar who spreads disinformation herself.
People founded this country because they believed that no one had the right to tell you how to live your life, what religion to practice, or what you could say or could not say. The founders of our country believed that more ideas and competing ideas were better than homogenous thought. But I think that's the key here, because the Democrats have realized that the biggest disaster for them would be if Americans could freely think, could freely discuss ideas with one another, and could research and come up with their own conclusions, because they would most certainly conclude that they are all a bunch of frauds and phonies over on the Democrat side. A lot of people would find that out very, very quickly. But my question is, this system has been working in America for roughly 250 years. So what changed all of a sudden? Why the need to silence roughly half the country all of a sudden? Is it, Sean and Janine, that perhaps they're nervous that Donald Trump might take another run at the White House in 2024? And is it worth, just completely dissolving one of our fundamental rights as American citizens? Well, you would expect to see something like this, no doubt, in China, in North Korea. That's where you expect to have a thought police of sorts, to have this, ministry of truth. It is absolutely outrageous that in 2022 in the United States of America, we see this happening. We are supposed to be getting better as a country and a society, and unfortunately, with Democrats in control, they have taken us the opposite direction. It's rather terrifying.
It is.